For the New York Times and the International Herald Tribune, this is Susie Menkes in Paris with Gareth Pugh, a designer who has challenged the fashion world by using film as well as catwalk shows to get across his message. Gareth Pugh, you had lots of elements in that powerful show of yours. You had the leather strands, you had fur, you had moving things, you had tight things. What was the thought process behind it?
The word that I had in my head for this season was kind of woolly. We had a lot of fun kind of making our own fur out of knit that looks, you know, it's kind of the way that people, that wig makers make their wigs. By hand, go through every hole, and it's kind of like knotting a piece of yarn and then that's all brushed out. So spring summer was very much about it being pin sharp and kind of very perfect lines and quite precise. Whereas with fall I kind of just wanted to do something that's very kind of primal feeling, or something that feels quite primitive or raw, or, you know.
You shocked the fashion world by using Ruth Hogburn, who's a cineast who worked with Nick Knight, to direct films instead of giving shows. Yeah. What was behind that? You know,
like, to do a show you have to rely on a lot of other people. You know, I suppose I'm kind of a classic Virgo in that sense, that if I could do it all myself it would be perfect, but if I have to leave it to other people, then, you know, it's kind of, that's where you start to have problems. I'm a bit of a perfectionist. So with doing film, I can regain control. It gives me a lot more power over what people see. You know, like, we sent some outfits last night out that in hindsight we really shouldn't have sent out because they weren't put on properly. And it's because I didn't put them on, you know? So just basically on a very simple level, for me as a designer, it's, you know, like, you're defined by not necessarily your work per se, but the image that you create with your work.
You've been very fortunate, or maybe very clever, in finding in Rick Owens and his wife an extraordinary mentor who really has protected you and encouraged you. How do you feel about all that?
Well, you know, I'm very aware that if it wasn't for Rick and if it wasn't for Michelle particularly, I wouldn't be here. You know, my production and a lot of what we do in the shows produced at the same factory that produced Rick, and it has the same level of quality, and they have such a great setup at Rick Owens, and also his sales and distribution people are great, and they also look after my thing. So I'm incredibly lucky to have both Michelle and Rick and all of their people kind of fighting my corner, I guess.